what is the fatty acid profile of high performing herds? So the first thing to do is to establish what is a high performing herd. So we will talk about two different ways. This first one is kgs of milk per lactating cow per day. So what we did is we are showing the data of the fatty acid profile from December averages, but we are categorizing the herd based on their annual production. So annual production of kgs of milk per lactating cow per day, and looking at the December data for the fatty acid analysis, just because December is a month where usually all silages are well fermented and things are stable. So that's why we use that specific month to look at the fatty acid profile, but there was not much of a difference if you look at a yearly basis, but that's how we are representing this data here. So this is again in milk basis. So what we did is we have four categories. We have the 10% lower herds. So these ones are either equal or below the 26.6 kgs of milk per lactating cow. Then we have most of our herds that are between 10 and 98% of our herds. So between 26.6 and 37.9 kgs of milk per lactating cow. Then the 98 to 98 percentile rank, so almost 38 kilo to 40.7, and we have our top two herds that are above 40.7 kilos of milk on a yearly basis again. So if we look at our main group here is the orange group, we see that the average is really similar for all groups. The really high performing herds based on kgs of milk per lactating cows are just below, but when we look again at the units, there's not much of a difference. And some of these herds that are really high performing and high kgs of milk per lactating cow, they still have some of their de novos above, like the average group here. So we think that your production level in terms of kgs of milk per lactating cow, you can still refer to the provincial average for de novo, because as you see, like the average is really close from one group to another. When we look at mixed and preform, we come pretty much to the same conclusion. Again, you can use all of these benchmark, and the level of performance does not really affect the profile. So now if we look at similar data, again, December 2019 averages, herds that are categorized based on annual production for kgs of milk per lactating cow, but this time we look at it on a fatty acid basis. Again, what we see is that, the de novo are really similar across group. Mixed and preform is pretty much the same conclusion. So, there are no difference, and you can use the benchmark of the provincial data for all level of performing herds based on kgs of milk per lactating cow. Our second analysis was done looking at performing herds, but the definition of these herds was kgs of butter fat per lactating cow. So it's a little different. We didn't just look at kgs of milk, but actually look at kgs of butter fat. So again, these fatty acid analysis are coming from December averages, but they are categorized based on annual production. So the kgs of butter fat annual production, but the fatty acid profile coming from the December data, just because there is more stability in that specific month. So if we look at milk basis here, so below 1 kilo of butter fat per milking cow, all the way to 1.7 kilo of butter fat per milking cow, we see that the average is quite similar from one group to the other. There's not much of a difference. Mixed, preform, and polyunsaturated is pretty much the same thing. So again, you can use this benchmark across all performing herds based on kgs of butter fat per lactating cow. And when we look in the fatty acid basis, we see the exact same thing. So, it's pretty similar across, and even herds that have really high performance level, they can have high de novo in their fatty acid analysis. So it's not because you produce a lot of kgs of butter fat per milking cow that your de novo has to be below average. You can still meet average or be above average with your de novo and your de novo profile. So that's something that we found really interesting.